The Boston Celtics win Game 1 against the 76ers here at TD Garden, and this report is brought to you by 1-in-100. Head over to 1in100.co, your online raffle to win tickets to Celtics games, future Celtics games, other sporting events, and other concerts going on around the city. That's 1in100.co. Gentlemen, initial reaction to the Celtics versus the Sixers.
Jason Tatum.
Let's start with that
Jason
guy.
Tatum show.
That's a great place to start. Jason Tatum drops 20 points in the first 3 quarters, was easily the difference maker.
20-year-old Jason
was
Tatum.
One heck of an ugly first half.
A lot of people forget that.
Out of
People
both
do forget
teams,
that.
and he finished strong.
19.
To me, he was the difference, but other guys stepped in as well, right?
Yeah, he was the difference maker. Obviously, it was a really slow start. It looked very preseason-like in the early going, sloppy for both sides, but he kind of took over parts of the second quarter, and obviously in the third quarter, too. He was the difference maker. But I thought, away from Jason Tatum, because that's what everyone's going to be talking about, I think you got to focus on the depth here. At one point in the game, Gordon Hayward and Kyrie Irving were 3 for 16 from the floor, and the Celtics were winning by 14 points.
I mean, they finished 6 for 26 or something like that. They didn't get that much better.
They didn't. They didn't.
For them, it was kind of like, was this an easy win? Because it didn't feel like it at parts, just because like guys like those two were kind of struggling throughout. But you talked about the depth. Tatum, Smart coming through at double-digit points. Marcus Morris coming off the bench. I mean, these guys are. I know it was only game 1, but it seems like they're cool with their roles, and I think that they believe that they can still contribute in different ways coming up. Whether it's coming off the bench, playing spot minutes, a spot second half start, whatever it may be. If they don't buy in, these wins don't accumulate. So I don't think they have a choice in that sense.
I think that's why, when guys like Irving and Hayward slowed down. I mean, Irving was scoreless in the first half, and the Celtics still had a lead at halftime. You saw the difference in the third quarter when Irving was still sort of struggling, but decided to facilitate, right? He finished with 7 assists. He eventually did finish with 7 points, but you saw those other guys, like you said, the guys, the members of BWA, the two Marcuses, stepping up there, and of course Terry Rozier. And you had Baines
messing around with Embiid.
Threes over here right to the left of us. I mean, it was like they were in their roles, and they weren't afraid of the moment. When the other players needed him to step up, needed guys off the bench to step up, they were there to deliver. And that's something that the Philadelphia 76ers don't necessarily have.
No, they don't. They're struggling. I mean, granted, they were down Mike Muscala and Wilson Chandler.
Oh,
so,
please,
I mean,
please,
in terms of depth,
don't even tell me that.
You don't need,
Get those guys off this.
Jimmy, they would have won this game
with those
with
two
those
names.
guys.
Bleep out those 2 names. They're that important to
I have
to
never
the
been a Sixers supporter in any way, shape, or form, but the fact that, they didn't have any depth tonight, they basically ran a 6-man rotation all night. So obviously missing those 2 guys hurts. But
again, 5-man. Are you including Fultz?
that's a whole other video. But I think the fact that the Celtics' depth is so reliable and consistent, everyone on that bench can play defense, and that's a factor that no one else in this league has, in my opinion. You got guys like Rozier, Morris, and Baines coming in, and the defensive level for the Celtics doesn't drop, and that's huge against a shorthanded team like the Sixers.
Yeah, we talked about it in previous games or previous videos that the Celtics are probably the deepest they've been in the last 10 years, right? Or obviously going further than 10 years for sure. Yeah. But since they became a quote-unquote better team or a good team, since the KG era, they're probably the deepest. So, and I think that was on display tonight. Kyrie said after the game that he felt like maybe he was a little nervous, and that was contributing to some of his issues as the lights go out here.
The lights go out.
It never gets old, right, guys? always
New season, same light issue. I think somebody up there is just watching us and now hit the lights.
Even with the special lights, right? You think that those will stay on longer, but no, not so much.
But and Brad Stevens made a good point. Everyone's focusing on how Gordon Hayward was 12 months from last playing, but Kyrie Irving was about 6 months. So he hadn't been out there for a while, and he was sort of feeling things out. So we talked about Rozier, we talked about Smart, Jaylen Brown. We haven't even mentioned this whole freaking video. And he had the. I don't know if you call it a dunk, but he did go up.
Joel Embiid blocked that ball.
I don't think you can call it a dunk, but I mean,
can't call it a block either because the ball went in.
You got to give him some. You got to give him effort. I mean, effort. You got to give him respect for that.
Right. He's lucky that happened because he didn't play very well tonight.
So well, he was that was sort of the icing on the cake for this win. Especially you had a Wick Grossbeck on his feet, so that's always a good sign on national TV.
And Gucci was, I think, right there, too.
And Gucci
was in there, repping Celtics like he usually does. And that was pretty much the story here at TD Garden as they shut the lights off on us. And we'll try to wrap up these other videos in the meantime. Hey, head over to 1in100.co. Get yourself signed up, and that's going to do it for us here at TD Garden. The Celtics topped the 76ers.
105-87.
CLNS Media.